Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, we are about to go live to Syria in the next moment or two. You're listening to us on Salam Media as well as on Azhar in Jordan and Diplomatic Bridge and on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Maseeha Saloojee, South African that's living in Syria, is about to join into the stream this morning. And we want to talk about the exhumation of a tomb in a town called Marat in Oman. And that is with regards to Khalifa Umar bin Abdul Aziz, rahmatullah alayh, whose remains were apparently exhumed. So we just time for her to get back into the stream and talk to us about what is happening there. And I see that this is beginning to connect into it. Yes, yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Matia.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Brother Azhar?
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan for making time to chat to us this morning. Now, there's been a developing story over the last few days, in fact, from last week, that has raised eyebrows, but unfortunately not perhaps made it into the important news itineraries of people. And that is an exhumation of a body that had taken in a town called Marathon Oman in Syria's Idlib province. Have you heard anything about it, and
True.
what's the background behind the story?
Since the regime took over certain areas of Idlib, to be honest, I myself didn't know that this was one of the important graves until a while.
Sister Masia, the line has just dropped on us, and this is such a
I
difficult.
think it became quite evident that they were just trying to get people's ire up and upset people because they already started with those rebel fighters' bodies who were buried in the surroundings of Idlib. And they started desecrating those bodies, making mock videos out of it and things like this. And Alhamdulillah, I don't think there has been a response from the rebel side in terms of doing the same with regime soldiers' bodies. But I think this was like really the final straw. People were really upset over here when the news came that they did this to the body of Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah. So I don't
now,
know if they did it to his body itself, or it just seems to be the shrine actually that was desecrated. Allahu alam.
now, from the news reports that we've read, international news reports thus far, they've described it as Shia militia groups supported by Iran. Were they regime soldiers, or were they these different groups? Is there any difference between the two? All right, this network seems to be letting us down right now, and hopefully we can get re-establish that connection once again with Maseeha, and she comes back online. Maseeha, can you hear me right now?
Gee, I can.
All right.
I think I'm just
I was,
having a problem with my battery, so I'm just trying to connect to the charger. Right.
all right. Okay,
You
fine.
can
There we
you
go.
can hear
So yes, I was asking difference between Shia militia groups supported by Iran and the regime soldiers. Do we know who committed this atrocity?
Unfortunately, we don't because the it was just displayed on the pro-regime channels here in Syria. So no one really knows who exactly committed it. Some are saying that it was by Iranian soldiers. It just seems to be though that who committed it and who supported it all seem to be on the regime side, but we don't know who did the actual act.
Mhm. And can you tell us the significance of the person, Umar bin Abdul Aziz, rahmatullah alayhi, in Islamic history? Why is it such a touching matter to Muslims living in Idlib?
Um, Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah is known as the fifth rightly guided Khalif. He's the only Khalif who came after the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, who is referred to as the rightly guided Khalif, because subhanAllah, during his time, he really made a change towards the economic situation. He did everything he could in regards to justice in order to ensure that every person under his responsibility was taken care of, to the extent that it's mentioned that his wife had jewelry in her house and he refused to live with her while the jewelry was in the house until she herself gave it to them. And
All right, let's hope that network catches up with us there so that we can continue listening to.
a
Yes.
known uh, trademark of the Umayyad Khulafa, but he refused himself to live in luxury while those under him were suffering, to the extent that it was said that people called for zakah to be given and no one was there to receive the zakah. So he really was a big he was a big change for the situation of the people under him, and obviously because his name is also Umar, I think this is why it's one of the reasons why the Shias tend to hate him, because he represents someone who followed in the footsteps of Umar radiallahu anhu, whom they declare as the usurper of the Khilafah from Ali radiallahu anhu.
Mm-hmm. And the reaction from people in Idlib, you said, has been very emotional. Is there any news of what has happened to the remains? Have they been, reburied somewhere or taken? Any news of that sort?
There hasn't been any news on this side. The problem is that the border's been cut off from those who are on this side, so we can't get to that area where the body is, the body is or was. So we don't really know what happened to it. We've been trying to find out these past few days, but it's been different reports coming in. Some are saying the body itself wasn't disturbed. Others are saying that the body's been taken and thrown in one of the non-Sunni graveyards. Allahu Alam, I don't know any confirmed reports of what has happened to the body.
All right, and we see there's some kids there that are with you there playing in the background, and it's okay. You can let them into the video if they want to really be on your lap there. But it's easy going. Don't stress them out too much. The situation right now, I can hear kids playing in the background. It seems like it's a school that you're busy in right now. What is the situation in Idlib regarding the humanitarian issues as well as now in the COVID pandemic that we are seeing?
Um, the schools closed a while back prior to Ramadan by about a month, when I think the COVID situation became declared as a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. So they ordered that all the schools and educational facilities be closed. So we were closed until until Eid ended, basically. But Alhamdulillah, there hasn't been any reports of any confirmed COVID cases in the free areas of Syria. So they haven't been too strict on us. We asked for permission to reopen now after Eid, and Alhamdulillah, we've been granted permission. Uh, so yeah, I think in Syria prior to Ramadan there was a big fear of the virus. There were a lot of campaigns being done. 1 second, darling. 1 second. There were a lot of campaigns being done to raise awareness regarding the coronavirus. But since, Alhamdulillah, no news has been of confirmed cases here, people have sort of become eased up a bit. At one point, even there were announcements that Jummah Salah shouldn't take place for two Fridays in the masajid. The order wasn't really followed, but it was like, this announcement was given because of the concern for the virus. But Alhamdulillah, we're back to normal, sort of. Some schools are now closed because of summer, because generally schools have a 3-month summer holiday. So they will reopen in September. Other than that, Alhamdulillah, things have been sort of good since Ramadan. Yes, my darling. Is busy. Okay, she's woke up. Go, my darling.
Let's wait for that connection to re-establish there so that we can hear what the situation on the ground is in Syria. And I think it's rather
containers through to us. Sorry, I think I got cut off for a while there.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's quite amazing that while the world is in a total chaos and everybody is running out of fear, that the place one of the few, perhaps the only place on earth that seems to be unaffected by it is this little place called Syria, and that part of Syria in the Idlib area.
Alhamdulillah, it's something we, I think even prior when there was fear of it, I think a lot of people didn't give it too much thought because already they have the fear of death every day with the bombs. But even Alhamdulillah, it's really a blessing of Allah that they don't have this added worry, I don't know what, obviously this is just Allah's mercy on us that Allah has kept this place safe from it. And we make dua that it continues. Some people say obviously that it's because of the high temperatures that, but then there's been other places in the northern hemisphere which is in summer right now, which are experiencing quite a heavy load of the coronavirus. The borders were closed for a while between Turkey and the rebel area. But it was closed for about a week, and then they reopened it. And there's been things coming in and going out. And alhamdulillah, we just make dua that Allah keeps it this way, because I think if it has to come here, it would be very difficult to control any sort of social distancing with the close position of the camps to one another.
Hmm. And from the humanitarian perspective now, the broader issues as a result of the fighting, the war, and all of that. What are the humanitarian needs still at the moment? Is it a little bit easier, or are the needs still as pressing?
Um, we were quite worried prior to Ramadan, because what's happened is, because of the virus in the other countries, a lot of containers have been delayed because people are not allowed to, or either, obviously, there are some people are giving locally, which is very good, mashallah. Other people are not allowed to actually send out containers because of the government restrictions based on the virus. So we were worried prior to Ramadan, but mashallah, yeah, with Ramadan, there's been so much help from charities. Once again, Ramadan and Eid is always the best time, I think, for the refugees, because everybody, mashallah, around the world gives wholeheartedly. And right now, alhamdulillah, things are quite okay. There are obviously still places that need, and we try to do what we can. We've heard that they've been receiving containers now again in Turkey, so we hope, inshallah, soon we'll be getting new ones in. And inshallah, we just pray that right now, in terms of bombing and things, there hasn't been much for pretty much the whole Ramadan, which was strange. And then a few days ago, they started again in Jisr Shuhur, but it hasn't been consistent, and it's been like sort of once off every day or every couple of days. So right now, it's not very bad, alhamdulillah. It's quite good news right now for those here.
Finally, Sister Maseeha, a message to people in South Africa, whoever else may be watching, regarding COVID-19 and the fears that it has created in terms of worshiping, social distancing, and general life and change in life, and the importance perhaps that it even goes to the region of the world that you are in right now, and the times that we are experiencing. What can you share?
Sorry, brother Azhar, you cut off for a second. I just heard until the things people are experiencing. Can you just repeat the last part, please?
Just a few words of advice to people who may be watching, Muslims in South Africa and around the world, with regards to COVID-19, the pandemic, and this general situation that we are in.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, uh, while it's been declared a plague, a lot of ulama refer to the ajr, the reward from this pandemic, like that of a plague. And of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that whoever bears it patiently, he will get the reward of a shaheed, a martyr. And I think this is very consoling for Muslims around the world to think that, even if I have to die, or even if I have to go through this, inshallah, it's not in vain. Allah recognizes our difficulty, and He will reward us accordingly. Um, I think it's very difficult for any Muslims to go through the social distancing in terms of the masajid, and I'm not really going to touch on that because I think it's been covered enough in South Africa. But I think the most important thing for us to recognize is that this is a time for us to draw closer to Allah, and wherever we are, whether we are in our homes or wherever we are, not to let this opportunity slip by, because any difficulty that brings us closer to Allah is better than ease that takes us away from Allah. So inshallah, let us use this time constructively and not let it go in vain. Let's use it as a means that when we look back on it, inshallah, later on, we can feel that it wasn't just wasted sitting in our homes, but rather drawing us close to Allah. And for those people who are currently infected with the virus, may Allah make it easy for you all, and may Allah reward you for your difficulty. May Allah grant you complete shifa. And for those who have passed away, may Allah accept them as shuhada and make it easy for all their loved ones to bear their loss with patience and tawakkul.
I mean, Jazakallah khairan, Sister Maseeha. You go well. We have to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.